Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Just because you've been knocked down, don't you dare believe you're knocked out. Your setback is a setup for your comeback. It sounds like a catchy phrase, but let's talk real life. When you're in the middle of a storm, when everything you thought was solid starts falling apart, when you're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering how you even got here, it doesn't feel like a setup. It feels like you've been forgotten, like your dream is done, like everybody else got the blessing and you got the leftover pain. But what if I told you that the very thing trying to break you is the same thing that can build you? See, life has a strange way of teaching us. It doesn't send emails, it sends experiences. You don't grow when you're winning, you grow when you're losing, when you're confused, when you're stretched beyond what you thought you could take. That job you lost, it might be the only reason you found the courage to start that business. That person who walked out, they might have made space for someone who truly sees you. That time you fail, it might have introduced you to a part of yourself you didn't know you had. Resilience. Pain is a professor, and it never shows up without a lesson plan. But you got to be willing to stay in the class long enough to learn. Most people quit during the test. Most people start doubting the process when it starts hurting. But pressure is not a punishment. Pressure is a sign that something is being formed. Character, patience, power. You don't get diamonds without pressure. You don't get strength. People will look at your life and see the fall, but they don't know what's being built under the surface. They don't see the night you cried and still got up in the morning. They don't see the prayers you whispered when no one was around. They don't see the fight in you. But that fight is what makes the comeback real. Not because everything turned out perfect, but because you chose not to quit when quitting felt like the only option. Your setback might not feel fair. It might not make sense. But it ain't the end, it's the soil. The seed has to go underground before it grows up. And sometimes you bury it not to be forgotten, but to be planted. Something greater is being developed in the dark places. And when it breaks through, it'll be stronger because of where it came from. If you're still breathing, God ain't finished with you. You might not feel like it right now. You might be carrying the weight of disappointments, missed opportunities, and the kind of heartbreak that doesn't show on the outside. But the very fact that you woke up this morning, the fact that you still have breath in your body, that's proof. That's evidence that your story isn't done. You may have chapters filled with loss, failure, or shame, but that doesn't mean the book is over. That means the plot is thickening. That means something is still unfolding. It's easy to think your purpose has an expiration date, like maybe you messed up too bad, took the wrong path, wasted too many years. But purpose doesn't work like that. Purpose isn't based on your perfection. It's based on your potential. And potential doesn't disappear just because life got hard. God didn't bring you this far to leave you here. The breath in your lungs, that's a gift. That's a sign. That's a reminder that He's not through writing your story. See, sometimes we wait for lightning bolts or big signs to confirm we still matter. But the sign is already inside you. If your heart is still beating, then you still got work to do. You may not know exactly what the next step is. You may not see the whole path, but you weren't meant to see the whole staircase. You just got to trust that the one who gave you the breath will also give you the strength to keep going. There are people who didn't wake up today, people who didn't get another chance to try again, but you did. That means there's something in this world that only you can do, someone only you can reach, a dream only you can bring to life. And maybe you don't feel qualified. Maybe you think you're too broken, too old, too far gone. But God does His best work with broken pieces. He turns messes. He takes what others overlooked and makes it the cornerstone. It doesn't matter what they said about you. It doesn't matter how many times you failed. What matters is you still here. That's not by accident. That's not random. That's divine design. The enemy tried to take you out, but you're still standing. Life tried to wear you down, but you're still showing up. You've got scars, but you're still alive. And as long as you're alive, you've got a shot to heal, a shot to growth, a shot to make the rest of your life the best of your life. So breathe deep. Because that breath, that's more than air. That's purpose. That's promise. That's potential still unfolding. You can't drive forward looking in the rearview mirror. Try it in a real car and you'll crash. Life works the same way. You can't step into what's next if you're always staring at what was. Too many people are trapped by what happened to them, stuck in memories that should have been left behind miles ago. And the thing is, we all have a past. We all have regrets, mistakes, moments we wish we could rewind, but the danger comes when you let those moments define you instead of refine you. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. It's not meant to chain you down. It's meant to teach you something. Maybe it taught you who not to trust. Maybe it showed you your strength. Maybe it humbled you, broke you, and built you back up in ways you never expected. But don't make the mistake of building your identity around your history. What you did is not who you are. What you went through is not where you have to stay. Some people spend their whole life trying to fix what's already behind them instead of focusing on what's ahead. They're replaying old conversations, reliving old pain, and reopening wounds that should have healed by now. And the more you look back, the harder it is to move forward. It's like walking with your head turned around. You'll keep stumbling, and you won't even see the opportunities in front of you. Yes, the past happened. Yes, you messed up. Yes, they hurt you. Yes, you failed. But guess what? You're still here. You're still breathing. That means you still have a choice. You could choose to forgive. You can choose to let go. You could choose to move forward. Don't let yesterday rob you of today's peace or tomorrow's possibilities. And sometimes the hardest part isn't forgetting what happened. It's forgiving yourself for how long you stayed stuck in it. But give yourself some grace. You did the best you could with what you had. Now it's time to take your hands off the rewind button and press play on your future, because forward is where life is calling you. Forward is where your next level begins. You'll never see new blessings if you keep obsessing over old burdens. You'll never feel the full power of your purpose if you're still chained to who you used to be. That mirror behind you is small for a reason, because what's behind you isn't as important as what's in front of you. Keep your eyes on the road ahead. You got miles to go, and destiny don't ride in reverse. The blessing is buried in the burden. It doesn't look like it when you're in it. When life hits you hard, when everything you counted on starts to fall apart, when the weight you're carrying feels like it's crushing you, the last thing on your mind is blessing. You don't feel favored. You don't feel chosen. You feel forgotten, overwhelmed, maybe even cursed. But what feels like a curse now might be your biggest breakthrough. Some of the greatest things in life are hidden inside the worst moments. That pain you're feeling, that confusion, that heartbreak, that closed door, it might be the very thing that's positioning you for something greater. But you've got to hold on long enough to see it, because most people quit before they find the treasure. They give up in the middle of the storm, not knowing that the rain was watering the soil for their growth. It's hard to understand when you're going through it. When you're broken, betrayed, or barely holding it together, it's natural to ask why. Why me? Why now? Why this? But instead of asking why, maybe ask what. What is this trying to teach me? What strength is being built in me? What door is about to open that this burden is preparing me to walk through? Life doesn't hand out blessings in shiny wrapping paper. Sometimes they come in the form of disappointment. Sometimes they show up wearing pain. But inside that pain, there's purpose. Inside that struggle, there's strategy. Inside that delay, there's development. You just have to look deeper, dig a little longer, trust a little harder. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. The burden isn't always taken away. Sometimes you have to carry it for a while. But every step you take with that weight on your back, you're getting stronger. You're building spiritual muscle. You're gaining perspective. You're becoming someone who can handle the blessing once it arrives. Because the worst thing that can happen is getting the blessing before you're ready for it. That's why the burden shows up first. The burden comes to prepare you. It teaches you how to be patient, how to be faithful, how to be disciplined. It stretches you so that you don't shrink when the breakthrough finally comes. So don't curse your burden. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Look it in the face and say, I don't understand you, but I trust that something good is coming out of you. That mindset right there, that's what turns pain into power. That's what makes broken people unstoppable, because when you understand that the blessing is buried in the burden, you stop waiting for life to be easy and start using the hard things to grow. Don't wait for perfect, just move. Too many people are sitting on dreams, visions, and ideas because they're waiting for the stars to line up. Waiting until they have more money, more time, more clarity, more confidence. But life doesn't reward waiting, it rewards movement. And the truth is, perfect is a myth. It's an illusion that keeps you stuck. There will never be a perfect time, perfect setup, or perfect version of you. If you're always waiting for things to be just right, you'll spend your whole life standing still. Progress beats perfection every single day. Perfection is a trap that keeps you planning instead of doing, dreaming instead of building, hesitating instead of moving. But progress, even messy, slow, imperfect progress, gets you somewhere. One step forward is better than 100 thoughts about running, because motion creates momentum, and momentum is what carries you through the tough days when motivation runs dry. The people who get ahead in life aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who start anyway. They're scared, unsure, maybe even underprepared, but they move. They take the leap, they show up, and over time they grow into the person their future requires. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need to be willing. Willing to try, willing to fail, willing to look foolish for a minute in order to get wise over time. Some of the greatest success stories started with shaky hands and uncertain hearts, but they didn't let that stop them. Because action is what separates dreamers from doers. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you never act on them, they're just ideas. You can read every book, take every course, watch every motivational video, but until you apply what you know, nothing changes. And don't get caught up comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. They didn't start where they are now. You're only seeing the highlight reel, not the behind-the-scenes grind, the failures, the doubts, the lessons. So give yourself permission to be a beginner. Start where you are. With what you have, the skills will come, the confidence will come, but only if you move. That fear you feel, that hesitation, it's just proof that what you're trying to do matters, that it's stretching you, that you're growing, and growth never comes from comfort. You've got to be willing to take steps before you feel ready, before you feel qualified. That's how people rise. They move in faith, not certainty. So stop waiting for everything to make sense. Stop waiting for perfect. Start where you are. Use what you've got. Do what you can, and watch how far you can go when you decide to just move. You're one decision away from a whole new life, one choice, one moment of courage, one shift in mindset. That's all it takes. People think change has to come with fireworks or grand events, but most of the time, it's something small that flips the switch. It's the quiet decision you make when no one's watching, the one where you decide, I'm not going to stay here anymore, the one where you stop running from what hurts and start walking toward what heals. Everything can change when you choose not to give up. Quitting is easy. That's why so many people do it. It's easy to walk away when it gets hard. Easy to say it's not worth it. Easy to blame life, luck, or timing. But something powerful happens when you dig your heels in and decide to keep going anyway. That's where breakthrough lives. Right on the other side of I can't take this anymore is a new level of strength you never knew you had. Most people will never get to see it because they give up too soon. They stop 3 feet from goal, not realizing how close they were to something beautiful. Life will test you, that's a fact. It will knock you down just to see if you'll get back up. It will take you through detours, delays, and disappointments, but none of that can stop you unless you let it. The power has always been in your hands. You don't control everything that happens to you, but you do control how you respond. And your response, your decision in the moment of pressure is what shapes your future. You don't have to change your whole life in a day. You just have to make one strong decision. Maybe it's the decision to walk away from something toxic. Maybe it's the decision to finally forgive. Maybe it's the decision to believe in yourself again, to dream again, to try one more time. That one decision can be the turning point, the ripple effect, the moment your story changes course. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You don't need a perfect plan, just a willing heart. Because what looks like the end might just be the beginning in disguise. The moment you refuse to let go of hope, even when everything around you says it's over, that's the moment you take your power back. That's when you stop surviving and start living with intention. People wait for signs, for certainty, for a push. But sometimes the sign is your pain, the push is your frustration, and the certainty comes after you've moved, not before. One decision, just one, can open a door you never knew existed. So don't count yourself out. Don't talk yourself out of trying. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side of not giving up.